parrots are very long-lived animals. He's found in the Sumba Islands in Indonesia. Hi, Foster. You get a big kiss? Good boy. But mammals, will be bringing some animals out in just a couple of minutes, so we're going to go away before the music starts. It's kind of scary. Say bye. 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 Coming? How you guys doing today? Good. Good? Having a fun day here at Animal Kingdom?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Well, my name is Kelly, and I am a mammal keeper here at the conservation station. So that means I take care of all the fuzzy guys that you've seen since you got off the train. Did y'all see the little top caverns? Those little monkeys with the funny hairdo, the Albert Einstein hairdo as I call it. They're pretty cute, so I help take care of them. As well as all those guys out in the infection section. And particularly some mammals that live backstage and come out for shows just like this one. However, I'm sure a whole bunch of you have realized that I'm kind of contradicting myself here, because what kind of animal is this?
Reptile.
A reptile, that's right. So this is Dundee, and he's a type of reptile. There are 4 basic types of reptiles. You guys know what they are?
Crocodile.
Crocodiles and alligators, very good. Snakes, that's another one.
Horsey.
Now horsies, those are types of mammals, but that's a good guess. Lizards, that's right. And there's one more. They wear their homes on their backs. Turtles and tortoises, that's right. Now what type of reptile do I have? A lizard, that's right. He's a very special type of lizard. I'll walk him around for you guys. Called a bearded dragon. And like I said, his name is Dundee. He's about a year old. He hatched just before he came here. So he's basically lived it out in the kingdom his whole life. And you'll get to touch him at the end of the show. So the name that they have, bearded dragon, it serves a purpose. They can't breathe fire or fly like we think of when we usually hear dragon, right? So we usually think of when we hear the word dragon. Basically, that's just a word for a lizard, dragon. But the bearded part of his name comes from this little dewlap in front of his face. Did y'all notice that? Lizards are infamous for it. Well, I don't know if infamous is the word, but it's a very common feature that they have. And basically, when Dundee here gets scared, when he feels he needs to protect himself, what he'll do is try to make himself look a lot bigger than he is, a lot bigger and scarier. So he can inflate that dewlap, giving the appearance of a beard. Makes it look really cool. Also, when he's trying to find a girlfriend, that beard will turn black. Very, very dark black. It's not really black today, but usually you can see it be a little bit black. So that's pretty cool. That's why they have that name, bearded dragon. Now, where do you think that Dundee would live? What kind of habitat? Someplace nice and warm, that's right. Does his color give you any guess where he would live? Deserts, that's right. He's native to the deserts of Australia. Well, this coloration really helps him. There's a big C word for when an animal can hide due to its color. Do you know that big C word? Camouflage, that's right. So his color helps him camouflage out in those deserts in Australia. What kind of animal do you think Dundee is? Do you think he's a predator? Yeah, how many of you think he's a predator? How many of you think he's a prey animal? You seem very confused, sir. You think he's both? That's absolutely right. It was kind of a trick question. Dundee is both a predator and prey animal. So that coloration helps him a lot because he needs to be able to hide from predators. That's his #1 defense. Instead of inflating himself, he likes to hide. So what he'll do is he'll use that coloration to blend in with the sand and rocks out in Australia in the deserts. And that way predators won't be able to see him if he stands really still. But the same applies to prey animals that he might want to eat. because Dundee is something called an opportunistic omnivore. Those are two really, really big words, two really big O words. Does anyone know what that means? He eats leaves. Sometimes he eats leaves. What else does he eat? He eats anything. That's completely right. Basically, what happens is out in Australia in those deserts, Dundee doesn't always have the pick of the litter out there. Sometimes he's got to make do with what he has. So if he has a whole bunch of shrubs to eat, he's going to eat those. If he can find some yummy bugs, he's going to eat those. Yeah. Bugs are his first choice, though. So if Dundee wanted to eat a bug, do you think that bug is going to stand still for him? No, but maybe if that bug doesn't see Dundee, Dundee can sneak up, stand very still, and the bug can get close enough that he can reach out and grab it really quick. Jack and Jill are really excited about the show. So that camouflage really helps him as a predator and prey animal to be able to hide from his predators and be able to find his prey. Now, just in case the predator does spot Dundee, he can inflate himself. Like I said, he can inflate his dewlap, his beard, make himself look a lot scarier, but he also inflates his sides a lot. I don't know if you guys got a good look at it, but I'll walk him around. You see those spiny type of stuff all over his belly? Those are just modified scales. They're modified, just like the scales all over his back, just to be pointier, a little bit scarier. That way when he inflates himself, he's absolutely not going to look yummy. I don't know, but if you were a predator looking for a meal, you wouldn't want to put something really spiny in your mouth, right? That wouldn't be fun, because then you cut up your mouth and that would hurt. So you might be inclined to let little Dundee go if you saw those spines. So that's a big help for him. At your house? No? You don't think so? Who thinks yes, Dundee would be a great pet? Who thinks no, Dundee would not be a great pet? There's a whole lot of you who think no. Usually it's a little more flip-flops. Well, anyway, I'm not going to tell you whether or not Dundee is going to make a great pet for you because really I don't know. Dundee, bearded dragons, they are very popular in the pet trade. A lot of people do own them as pets, but you really have to make sure you do your research before you would get him as a pet because reptiles in general are a little harder to keep as pets. What type of animals are they? Are they endotherms like us, where we regulate our body temperature? No, they're ectotherms. So Dundee likes it pretty warm. He's used to the deserts out in Australia. So you'd probably have to get a nice terrarium, aquarium type thing with a nice heat lamp for him. And if you've noticed, he's kind of sitting, he's not opening his mouth a whole lot right now, but occasionally he will. And that's called gaping. That's what reptiles do when they're a little bit hot. I don't know if you guys went on safari today and saw the Nile crocs. Sometimes you can see them sitting with their mouths open. That's them gaping. That's how they cool themselves off. So when they're too hot, they'll gape like that, cool themselves off. And what do they do if they're too cold?
Go in their house.
What do they do?
Go in their house.
Go in their house? Warm up? Well, they could. If they had a house, they could do that.
But it does not. It doesn't. You cold here in Florida.
Sometimes it gets pretty cold. Sometimes it can get into the 40s and 30s here. At night it can get pretty cold. So what he needs to do is sit out in the sun. But if it's nighttime, he's going to need that heat lamp to keep him warm. So that's one really important thing to know about a reptile before you get it as a pet. Make sure that you can keep it nice and warm and nice and cool, depending on how they need it. Also, like I said, what does he like to eat first and foremost?
Bugs.
Bugs, that's right. Where do you think you'd be keeping those bugs that Dundee likes to eat? Not in his tummy before they're there. Where would you keep them? I'll give you a hint, next to your food in your refrigerator. That's right. Do you want bugs next to your food in your refrigerator? No, me either. No, that's not my favorite place for bugs. So I like bugs outside. I don't know about you guys. But maybe you're okay with that, and then Dundee could be a great pet for you.
That's hard.
Also, it's very important to research how big your pet is going to be before you get it. This is as big as Dundee is going to get. He might get a little bit larger. So this is pretty much a good size for some people. Maybe you want something a little bit larger. Did any of you see our Burmese python inside? Her name is Eve. She's pretty cool. Did you guys see her? Well, if you haven't seen her, you should go check her out. She's in the reptile window inside the building. Right now, she's about half grown, and she's about 14 feet long, and she weighs 83 pounds. The biggest Burmese python on record was about 25 feet long and a little over 300 pounds. So someone out in Michigan thought she was going to be a really great pet, decided that this was the pet for them. They obviously didn't do their research though, because when she started off just a couple inches long, maybe not much longer than Dundee here, she started growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And soon they
200 all over the world, and there actually are some types of owls that are active during the day, all right? But most of them are nocturnal. They do sleep during the day and they're active at night. Now, what do owls eat? Rodents, smaller animals, right? This owl, by the way, is not a baby owl. This owl is full grown. She's about 11 years old, and she eats a lot of insects, actually. Remember those bugs that the bearded dragon eats? Do you guys like to eat bugs? No? Okay, how many of you guys like shrimp? How many of you guys like lobster? Lobster's pretty good. Those are bugs. You guys eat bugs. They live in the water. They live in the water. They're tasty. They're big. But yeah, they are bugs. So you guys are bug eaters. Congratulations. But yeah, so this one eats a lot of bugs. Now let me ask you guys a question. All right? Wouldn't it be difficult to find a really small animal like a rodent, like a vole or a shrew, when it's pitch black out and there's no light? Wouldn't that be really hard? I think it'd be really hard for me, but thankfully she has a few tools that make it a little easier for her. So I'll talk about a couple of those tools really quickly. What's the first thing you guys really notice about an owl? What's staring right back at you? You're pointing at them, right? The huge eyes, right? Owls have huge eyes. Now, her head is a lot smaller than our head, so it's kind of hard to tell. But if we had the same proportions in our head, we would all have oranges for our eyes. Okay, can you guys imagine having your eyes as big as oranges? Alright, well that's how owls have it all the time. Now, thanks to these big eyes that she has here, she can take, say there's just a sliver of moonlight out there, that's all the light she has to see. She can take that sliver of moonlight and see as well as we can during the day, which is pretty cool. But, because her eyes are so big, there's something that you guys can all do that she can't do, okay? You guys know how you guys can hold your head still, and you can look up, and you can look down, you can look to the left, and look to the right. See some of you guys doing that right now. That's called shifting your eyes, right? Well, her eyes are so big in her head that there's no room for muscles to move her eyes that way, so she can't do that. Her eyes are permanently fixed, staring forward, just like this. So how does she see what's going on around her? She just did it, yeah? She turns her head. You're exactly right. You and I, we can look straight to our left, and we can look straight to our right. But if we were this owl, we could look straight behind ourselves without moving our shoulders. We can do that in either direction. So she can't start from the front and go all the way around. She can look all the way back once and all the way back the other way. So it's pretty cool. But her eyesight is not the only thing she uses to find her food. What's another sense that you guys use to find out what's going on around you? What do we use? What are you guys doing right now? I'm talking and you're listening. You're using those ears, aren't you? Yes, and owls have very powerful ears too. Now you can't really see them, but actually they are very, very large. They're underneath the feathers there. They can hear a little animal moving around on the ground from about up to 75 feet away, which is like from here to the tree out there in the affection section, alright? So that's pretty neat. But that's not the coolest part. This coolest part is where her ears are on her head, which makes them most useful, alright? You and I, I'm looking at everybody here. We've all got ears that are right across from each other on our heads, don't we? So when someone's calling from upstairs, maybe from the 4th floor, they call down and they say, hey you. You tend to look to the left first, and then you look to the right, and they say, no, up here. And then you look up, right? Isn't that usually how it works with people, right? Well, Owls, they have what's called asymmetrical ears, meaning they've got one ear up here and they've got one ear down here. So they can tell instantly whether a sound is coming from above them or below them. So say it's pitch black, she can't see anything, there's no sliver of moonlight. She can pinpoint an exact spot where a sound is coming from with those ears, and she can be catching her food just by using her ears and not her eyesight. Pretty neat, isn't it? That's pretty impressive. Now, when she sees something or when she hears something that she wants to catch, how does she get there? Does she walk over to it? She flies, exactly. And she's got some very special flight feathers to do that with. Do you guys know a lot of birds out here in the wild? I can see a couple black vultures up here and purple martins. There's a lot of birds that fly around, right? When they flap their wings, it makes a sound, doesn't it? Like when ducks fly, when pigeons fly, you can hear them go flap, flap, flap. That's where we get that word, right? Well, owls have very special feathers that allow the wind to pass through them without making a sound, okay? So not only can she see in extremely low light, she can pinpoint exact spots where sounds are coming from with those ears, but as she's flying towards that animal that she wants to catch, she's absolutely silent. That animal has no idea that she's coming until it's too late. Now what does she grab him with? Her mouth? What does she grab that animal with? Her claws, exactly. What are claws called in birds? Starts with a T, anyone know? Talons, that's exactly right. I think it's on the tip of your tongue too, right? Yes, talons, they're very, very sharp talons. If I didn't have this leather glove on, my hand would be hurt or bleeding or probably both, even though they're very small, right? But they're still very sharp. And any animal that gets caught in those talons, that's a bad day for that animal. Pretty much game over, game done. But you know what? It's a good day for the owl because owls need to eat, and that's just how they are, right? Now, like I said, this is an eastern screech owl found all over North America, including in most of your neighborhoods. I live in downtown Orlando, very urban, very developed, and I hear them in my neighborhood at night. So you could probably definitely have them around your neighborhood also. Now, there are other types of owls, though, that are not so fortunate, that are actually declining here because of habitat loss, like the spotted owl that lives out in the western part of the country, places like Washington and Oregon, Northern California. Now the trees that the spotted owl is living in are being cut down to make things for it. Things like lumber, things like paper products, things that we definitely need, but what's something that you guys can all do in your very own homes that can help out those animals? Yeah? You can definitely make a bird nest. That's a great thing to do. That a lot of animals use for nesting boxes. They're in boxes that owls were used. I think your mom whispered something else though. Recycle. How many of you guys recycle at home? That is great. Please keep recycling. It's a great thing to do. It saves so much habitat out there for so many animals. And not only that, you guys can also use recycled things in your own homes. The benches here you guys are using are made from recycled plastic bottles. They're great products. And the mulch here is recycled car tires, alright? The benches aren't going to give you splinters where you don't want splinters. They're lightweight and durable at the same time. And they're good, and they save a lot of habitat. The mulch, same thing. The bugs don't live in the mulch, no splinters there, and the mulch has been here through lots of hurricanes. So the next time you need something new at home, exactly like that, you might want to consider getting something recycled instead. All right? Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop talking. Kelly, who you saw earlier with the bearded dragon, she's going to come back out, and I believe she's going to give you guys an opportunity to touch the bearded dragon. Is that correct? All right. So if she comes, what you guys are going to do, I'm going to be over here, actually I'll stand over here where it's a little bit shadier. You guys are welcome to come up and get a closer look at the owl if you like. I just ask you don't try to touch her. She doesn't really like to be touched too much, but we can try to pose for a picture with her. Sometimes she poses in a palm for a picture. And if you'd like to touch the bearded dragon, Kelly will give you the info on that, alright? You're definitely going to want to wash your hands after you're done touching it, right Kelly? Alright. You guys have a great day. Thanks for coming and joining us today here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Enjoy the rest of your day here, okay?
Demonstrate. Alright, let's let him settle down for a minute. What I want you to do is hold up your two fingers. Those are your lizard petting fingers. And what you're going to do is pet him right down his tail, just like that. Just stay on his tail. Okay? Sure, yeah. Very good job. You guys see how good that is?
Yeah, she's 11 years old, full grown. There's even owls that are smaller than she is. She's pretty cute. What? No.